Hi guys, Steady Eddie here, this time taking a walk up a nice little old country lane. So I hope all's well with everyone and everyone's keeping well. Now, you haven't heard from me for a while on this channel, although I have been posting on the other channel, Steady Eddie Live. I've been doing live streams Monday, Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock. Also posting the odd video here and there, yes, give my opinions about things. But the reason I haven't posted on this channel for a few weeks anyway, is because I haven't been travelling. So anyway, this video, what this video is about is basically retiring in Southeast Asia. No, it's not a video that is about everything you need to know about retiring and all that kind of stuff. No, it's basically when you make your mind up, not your first mind, but when you make your mind up that you want to retire abroad, Southeast Asia. I'm not really thinking of anywhere else. Southeast Asia is the place. It's when you first make your mind up, and what are the first thoughts that go through your head? What has caused you to decide that you want to retire abroad? And you know, what are the restrictions and the drawbacks of it and whatever? What are your first thoughts once you actually make your mind up? And I must say that I have made my mind up that 2024 is going to be the year that I retire in Southeast Asia. It could be the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, or the end of the year. But, you know, I've kind of adopted a it's now or never approach. And I've decided that next year is going to be the time. Now, you may think, well, what about this year? Why don't you retire this year? Well, you know, all things in good time. You see, I've already done something this year, which I never ever thought I'd do. I've actually given up the booze. Now, I have mentioned that before. I have mentioned it for about 4.5 months now since I last touched a drop of anything alcoholic. And I never thought I could do that. Now, I've mentioned it before in videos, and if you go to the Steady Eddie Live channel, you will see videos on this. Now, you may say, you know, so what? That's the booze. That's another subject. No, don't trivialise it. Don't trivialise it at all. That is a very, very important issue. It's important to me because I felt that I was heading for an early grave. And it is linked into the, you know, I want to retire abroad scenario. It's well known that guys who go out and retire in places like Thailand or wherever, some of them become alcoholics. You know, if they already have an alcohol problem, then when they go abroad in the sun, not working anymore, what do? You end up drinking day and night and day and night. You know, well, that's a terrible, terrible problem. So it's well documented that, you know, alcohol can be a terrible problem when you retire abroad. Well, I've had that problem for many, many years. And surely through willpower, I've finally managed to control it. I've controlled my alcohol. I'm totally teetotal now, you know, absolutely haven't touched a drop. And I feel physically better for it. I feel all physically better. When I say physically better, I still have the odd ailment, you know, bit of gout here and there. Yeah, you know, I mean, physically better. I don't leap out of bed of a morning and start doing cartwheels or anything like that. No, nothing like that. Nothing like that at all. But I must admit, I've lost a few pounds and I do feel all the better for it. Now, this is the positive and negative side of things. See, giving up the booze has made me feel a bit more positive about my health. You see, I mean, I'm 61 years of age, and drinking every night and sometimes in a day, depending where I am, made me think that I'm not going to live a great deal longer. You know, I'm not positive. I'm not. You know, I'm negative about my health for the future. In other words, with that amount of alcohol, I thought I'm not going to live much longer. I'm heading towards an early grave. And I kind of resigned myself that that's the way I was going to be. But now, given up that booze, I can see life in a bit better. And I'm thinking to myself, I may just live to a ripe old age. I'm no athlete, but I'm definitely feeling a bit physically better than I was before. And I can walk and talk, and I don't really have any disabilities or anything like that. And now I'm feeling a bit more positive. And this brings me to the question of age and retirement. If you retire abroad, one of the things that you do have to think about, and I don't hear that many other people mention this, but I'm going to mention it, is how long you may live. Now, nobody knows this. Everyone knows, people who just died suddenly in the, in the 60s or before that. People who didn't really seem to have too much of a problem. Just suddenly dropped dead. It does happen. I know people like that, and I'm sure that you do as well. But, at 61 years of age, I'm thinking, how much longer am I going to live? Well, before I would have thought I probably won't make it to 70. Whereas now, I think I might just live to a ripe old age. Not guaranteed. Definitely not guaranteed, but you never know. And when you think about it, what if I live to 85 or 90, maybe even mid-90s? I'm pretty sure there's lots of people in the 90s who never ever thought that they'd get to that age. I've met people in the 90s who smoke and drink, and I don't even smoke. I never have done. So, I could live possibly for another 30 years. It's not impossible. I don't think it's likely, but it's not impossible. And if I'm planning on retiring abroad soon, then that's 30 years of retirement abroad. You've got to take all of that into account. So what I mean is that you've got to have enough money in order to cover all of that. That's a hell of a long time, that is, to retire abroad. So this is one of the first thoughts that I have. 61 or 62 next year is still quite a young age, really, in terms of retirement. So, I've met 90-year-old people. I've worked with the public for years. I've met people in the 90s who, they love telling you how old they are. It's like as if they wave it around like a trophy. And I don't blame them. But all I'm saying is that if you are, watch out for the boy races. What I'm saying is that if you're in your early 60s, don't assume, I better retire because I'm in the last, closing years of my life. You might not be. You might not be. You may still well be in the prime. So that's one of the thoughts I'm thinking about with retiring abroad. Also, where shall I retire abroad? Well, Southeast Asia is my target. I'll speak all about that later, but I've got no interest in European countries anymore. I've seen them all, been there, done that, seen all the historical buildings that I need to see. I don't retire anywhere where they've got a famous historical building, because once you've seen it, you know what I mean? I want to retire for other reasons. Another reason I want to retire abroad in Southeast Asia is because of the weather. That really, really is. Britain, this is the peak summer, and I'm lucky to catch this. There was a little bit of rain earlier. In Britain, there's only one rule with regards to the weather. You get what you're given. Either like it or lump it. It's the middle of August now. Probably in the next month or two, I'll be putting the heating on again at home. It's a cold climate, and as for the rain, for the rain, well, it can rain anything. There's no such thing as a rainy season in Britain. It can rain in the winter and be dry in the summer, or it can be dry in the winter and rain in the summer. You just never know. It's all just pot luck. So the climate abroad does appeal to me. Now, I know a lot of those Southeast Asian countries do actually have a lot of rain in their rainy season, but at least it's coming, and at least when their summer comes, it's going to be nice and sunny. And also the heating. Is there ever a time that you have to put the heating on in Southeast Asia? I'm not sure that you do, really. So, the weather is very, very appealing. So why would anyone decide to spend the rest of his life abroad? Simply because of my own country, England. I find England to be a very, very bland and unfulfilling place. it's, I mean, here, this is a nice country lane here, very, very nice, yeah, in the summer, when the weather's dry, of course, and you can go for a walk. But I find England to be very, very unfulfilling. I mean, it's, I'm far more drawn to those wonderful, you know, Southeast Asian places where people smile and, you know, people smile at you and they're all full of smiley faces and the weather's warm and things seem so relaxed, far more relaxed than here. And so England, you know, it's a great country, but I find it very, very bland, and it's riddled with problems nowadays. It's so expensive here, and then you've got other problems, you know, the issues of people coming into our country uninvited, and the health service, and England's become pretty crap. I don't really need to go into that, because on the other channel, the Steady Eddie Live channel, we do talk about that quite a lot. But England is, it's bland, it's become pretty boring. Its political system is pretty awful right now. It's law enforcement and just about everything else about Britain. It's become a bit of a joke really. I shouldn't knock my own country, but it's got a lot of great things. If you're a millionaire, even if I was a millionaire, which I'm clearly not, I wouldn't want to live here. I wouldn't want to live in England. I don't want to live here being an ordinary bloke, and I don't want to live here if I was a rich man, you know. So I like the idea of living in another country. I find England to be very, very bland. And I'm reading the road ahead. How about when I'm a bit older? What am I going to do? I still work right now. I still can work and earn money. But what happens in a few years' time when I can't work anymore, physically work anymore? What am I going to do then? What am I going to do when I can't physically work? I'll be able to survive here. Not a problem, really. But what do I actually do? Do I go of an afternoon down to Wetherspoons and have a few I don't drink anymore, by the way. Do I go to, I see other people, old guys going down to Wetherspoons and having a few beers and talking the usual crap that they talk. What kind of life is that? That's not a life. That's not a life. No. This is not the place that I want to be. So anyway, I've made my mind up. Right now, I'm 61 years of age. Next year, 2024, I will be 62, and that's the age, that's the time when I want to move abroad. So I've got to figure out all the financial aspects and the legal aspects and the health issues and the health insurance. That's extremely important, whatever you do. And also, where exactly am I going to retire? To me, retiring abroad has always meant, finding a little place somewhere in the one place and staying there. But I'm not really quite sure where I'm going to retire exactly. Because anyone who's watched this travel channel over the years knows I don't stay in the one place. I tend to move about a bit. And this is another thought that I've had. Yeah, I can move about a bit. I can move from Vietnam to Cambodia to Thailand, whatever. I can hop on buses and planes and that sort of thing. I can do that now. But how about 10 or 20 years? In 20 years' time, if I was retired abroad, you know, am I going to be settled in one country and then the visa runs out? At 80 years old, the visa runs out and I'm going to have to get up and move to another country abroad. It's not going to be so easy. So you've got to consider all of these things. You've got to consider all of these things. And there's a lot for me to consider for moving abroad next year. But what I have decided is that next year, it's now or never. The fact that I've given up alcohol this year is a big bonus. It's a big bonus because I feel healthier and I feel like I can live a bit longer and have more of a future. I just don't want my future to be in Britain, England, because it's just not the country for me anymore. Okay? So anyway, I'll be doing a few little videos, pretty soon when I come up with some other ideas. But I'll be making plans from now on. Next year is going to be the year. That's the year that I'm going to retire out in Southeast Asia. And once you've made your mind up, it's all about making your mind up. You know, I've made my mind up. Next year, it's now or never. So anyway, I'm going to have a little walk up this country lane, and I'll say thanks for watching. I'll be in touch soon. If you've got any comments to make, then by all means make them. I'd love to hear your feedback on it all. Any advice will be appreciated. And in the meantime, have a great day, great evening, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.